Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining our live stream today. That's going to be covering best practices for building with GenUI. This live stream is going to be approximately 60 minutes. We will have a section at the end for questions and answers, so I would encourage you to go ahead and put that in the Q&A tab from now all the way till we start answering those questions. Remember, this is also going to be recorded, so you'll be getting that recording at the end. Let me go ahead and go to the next slide here. My name is Adam Murray, and I am lead product manager here at Builder.io. And I'm going to turn it over to Nick now.
Yeah, hi folks. I'm Nick Nessel. I'm a solutions engineer here at Builder, and together Adam and I will be walking you through the agenda today. Just to give you a quick heads up of what we'll be covering. This isn't really like a Builder advertisement that we're doing here. What we want to talk about is a little bit more generically how to work with all kinds of LLMs and GenUI prompts. So we're going to be going through kind of best practices for using GenAI, how we can kind of not just build things, but build them on brand with your components. And so we'll be using one example that we take throughout this, and we'll bounce into a couple different products. We'll be in Claude, we'll be in Builder, we'll be in Figma. And so, yeah, looking forward to getting started with you all. So the context that we'll do for this is let's go through this scenario, and this will be what we use throughout the webinar today. Is Vimeo is kind of one of our partners that we work with, and they've got a great brand, a very well established brand with stylings and design systems all built out. And so in this world, we're going to say that Vimeo is going to be hosting a new conference, okay? And what they need to do is build a new conference website. That website needs to have some landing pages, it needs to have some sign up. And then we even want to build an application so while people are there at the conference, they can kind of manage their schedule and things like that. So there's a lot to do. And what we really think is, right, like, okay, this is kind of a known thing that lots of folks have done before. Maybe AI can help us build out this site and build out this application. So we're going to use that as an example throughout the rest of this demo of how could we build a new conference site with all of these features as well. And at a high level, though, the main problem that folks will run into with AI is that AI is pretty good. If you do ask it to build that conference website, it will build a conference website. But the thing is the AIs are kind of trained generically on all of the conference websites that have been out there in the world. So what it's going to give you out of the box is going to be basically the average of every other conference website that's ever been built. And that's good, but if you're Vimeo, that's not your brand, that's not your styling. It doesn't really have any of your personality into it. And so this is kind of the problem that we want to address here today is how do we take these AIs that are very generic and make them very specific and make them our branding and our stylings. And the other problem that we have with AIs is that if you ask an AI to do something 5 times, it's going to do 5 good things, but it's going to do 5 slightly different good things as well. And that's a little bit of the other problem when we're in this enterprise mindset, like Vimeo or a lot of the folks on the call here today is, uh, you know, I like that AIs can be generative and suggestive, but also I want it to kind of be predictable as well, which is a little bit not how AIs are designed. And so there's a lot of tools out there and a lot of stylings and a lot of techniques we can use here to solve this problem as well that we'll walk through.
Yeah, people spend a lot of time and just effort on making their brand, right? So it's just like to lose it in this space is not something you want to do.
hmm hmm So what is the solution, right? So this is our brand. We want to build that website, but we want it to look like our brand, and that's what we're really going to walk through today is those techniques. Um, I think this is maybe the last slide or one more to go, but this is going to be a thing you're going to get tired of Adam and I saying this word of context, right? Context is everything here. And I think this is the most important takeaway from this webinar is that, again, AIs have been trained on all of the world knowledge. When you're talking to an AI, we need to be specific. We get to add in prompt context. We get to tell it, you're not designing for the world here, you're designing for me. And so what are these techniques of being able to basically corral and agree on kind of the rules of the game with the AI so that when you do ask it to do something, It is going to kind of be what you're expecting it to do with your styles. And so this context is everything. You're not building for the world, you're building for me in this exact scenario. And that's where a lot of the techniques that we'll go over today is how can we help these AIs get that context. We'll point out a few best practices tips along the way. I won't belabor all these points here, but really it's that agreement again of that context of how do we make them aware of our design system? How do we make them aware of our design tokens? One of the things is number 5 there that I've personally been really struggling to internalize myself, which is that AIs are not just typing anymore, right? You can actually upload images and other multimedia and things like that. And I think when AIs first started, it took me a long time to get into that casual back and forth conversational style with them. And I think all of us have kind of adapted to that. I think the new adaptation we need to make is, hey, it understands pictures, it understands images, it understands PDFs and sketches. And so I think that's kind of the next iteration in my own personal understanding of, oh, when I'm interacting with AIs, they're actually visual things as well.
Yeah, sorry about that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to demo kind of the flow to get you from kind of a generic AI generated mini site that we're creating all the way through to production ready content. The way we're going to do that is we're going to start off by actually defining a design system. So most of you may already have a design system, or you wish you would create a design system. That's the way I find a lot of documentation kind of things goes. But we're gonna today show you how to use an LLM to actually create that design system for you, and then how to also use that LLM to then create a style guide that you can share with the rest of your company, the rest of your team. And then we're gonna iterate through using that design system. We're gonna iterate through that with LLMs, and then finally get again to building our content, building our production ready content that we need to ship. Now, what's really cool is just to go back on the context side. I've seen AI do really kind of lead people into better documentation. When we started as developers, started working heavy with automated testing makes better code because what you find is that when you write bad code or you write, kind of the old school, like, having these massive files, it's really, really hard to test. And so it made you kind of make these more granular things that could be easily unit tested. In the same way, I think LLMs are actually encouraging better documentation or encouraging more documentation because, again, you get better results with this context. So, and the way you have context is you have things that are documented. And again, that can be markdown files, that can be websites, that can be all sorts of images, it can be sketches. But again, documenting these kind of design decisions is going to be key to helping us really rapidly iterate and create really cool GenUI things super fast. So today I'm going to be working in Builder.io, but these tips, they work with all AI tools. So, I mean, I'm also going to be using Claude today. We're going to be using Figma today. We're going to be using Builder, but you could just as easily do some of these things in Cursor or what other, any other tool of choice you have. I just happen to be lead product manager for Builder, so I'm going to be using Builder. So let's jump into our demo. Let me start off first by talking again through like creating a pretty generic design. Nick showed a couple of examples of that earlier, but I'm going to show that in here. So I'm going to grab a prompt. Let me grab it's kind of a long prompt. We're going to be sharing all these prompts with you after the live stream, so you don't have to worry about trying to like screenshot these right now or you're not going to miss anything. But I'm going to take a really long prompt here. Let me show you that. So I want to generate a web landing page for a new conference called the Video Summit. And it's got the following details. And I put in there, it's a very detailed prompt. Got all the information with the name, the tagline, our dates. If you keep going, like where it is, the audience we're reaching, it's got a remote ticket option, an in-person ticket option, the different workshops. I mean, there's a lot here going on in this prompt. So let's go ahead and just we'll generate that. I'm gonna for the sake of time, I'm just gonna kind of skip through to show you what it looks like already generated. But again, you can take these prompts, you can run them on your own to see that you're gonna get similar results that we get. So if I open this up, I've already created this here. It's creating this landing page. If I open this up, you'll see that it created a pretty generic landing page. It's fine, it works. It looks like a template that you might buy in some, theme registry or something like that. It's got, nice icons. It's got some animations on hover. It's got all the information that I asked for, little avatars for my speakers. It's pretty ready to go. I mean, but again, it doesn't look anything like Vimeo. It doesn't look anything like our brand.
And so, Adam, just a quick question. This looks like you're doing this now in Claude, right?
Yeah.
And why did you choose Claude here?
Yeah, Claude's actually really good at coding. It's really good at coding kind of these basic things, especially. So if you're rapidly prototyping, it's a really good tool for that. I'll even find sometimes that it creates apps and things I don't ask for. So like if I'm, trying to analyze some data, it'll often create like visualizations for me and stuff. So it's really nice to be able to create this, and you can open this up here, and then you could even, take the code that it gives you and put this up on your repo somewhere. So it's really nice for these kind of quick iterations and these quick rapid prototypes. But again, it doesn't look anything like my design. So I'm going to want to start creating design tokens. And what's really cool about this, back to the multimodal, I'm grabbing my prompt here again. But back to the multimodal thing we talked about. If I go back to this page, I'm going to delete this prompt, and I'm going to first add an image where I want it to grab from. So if I open this image here, I'll show you what that looks like. I have a screenshot that I've taken of the page that I want it to work with. So I want to create a design system that's based on this image. What's really cool is you see, I mean, I've got my typography, I've got my colors. I see it's got on these images, I've got rounded edges. There's going to be border stuff in here. There's going to be buttons, all sorts of stuff that the LLM is actually going to extract information kind of from this image, which is really cool. And then I'm going to add to this a prompt. So the prompt is this: attached is an image of a web page. We want it to consider all the design elements to help create a set of CSS variables that can be used to apply the branding and design to web content. These are the tokens. These tokens will be the basis of a design system. Sorry. And so you can go through and like read all the things that I have here. I've got a lot of colors. I've got a lot of typography type information, spacing, line heights, border information, and it's even specific like component kind of styles like boxes, buttons, and containers and cards. The important thing though here is at the bottom for me. Also include any other tokens you might feel are required to successfully recreate the design of the image. Now, it would take me a long time, and I would probably miss a few things if I had to go through and like list every single item. I mean, you can see we already have like I think 30 or 40 that are here, but it would take me a long time, and I would clearly miss them. To one of Nick's points earlier, LLMs are trained on like the world's knowledge, so it knows what a good design system looks like. It has example repos in its knowledge base, and it's gonna kind of go through these and also add others that it thinks about, which is really cool for me. You may already have a design system. That's great. If you don't, I'm gonna show you. This is a great way to create one. It's also a great way to create one if you're like, you're changing things. If you, need to make a brand new, brand new application or a brand new site for maybe a promotion that you have going on, or some other sort of rebrand. It's a great way to kind of quickly run through that. So again, if I was to run this, it would just take a little while. So for the sake of time, I'm going to show you what I have here. So if I open this up, you see same prompt, same image. So I'm not like no bait and switch, nothing like that. I'm going to open up this code, and you're going to see that it's created all of this design system, all these design tokens. Really cool. It's adding comments so I can understand where it needs to be used, or different, so like instead of like seeing this rim setting here, I can know that's 12 pixels, 14 pixels, 16. It's just giving me more context on there. So now we've got our design system that we're now going to start use to kind of generate content with. Yeah, let's see. Let me go. All right, so what I want to do now is I'm going to actually open up Builder, and I'm going to take this design token system and I'm going to generate my style guide, because right now, I mean, this is great and all, but I want to, in the essence of like documentation, I want to make this very visual. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to scoot over to Builder. All right. And oh, actually, sorry, before this, let me go back. I'm gonna actually go back in here, and then I'm actually gonna generate it from here from Claude. Remember, I talked earlier about actually using Claude for like rapid prototypes. So in the same way that I just created that that landing page, I can actually create the design system from this as well. So I can take those design tokens that I just pasted, and I can add another prompt in here. Let me see. Let me scroll down. I got my prompt. Just grabbing it right here. Okay. And I can use this to actually create a style guide page. So I'm attaching a set of ZSS design tokens, and I want Claude to create a style guide page to serve as that. So I could run this again. And so again, for the sake of time, I've run this. I want to show you what this looks like in Builder now. Go back to this. And in Builder, we have a new feature where we can actually use Builder in the visual editor and AI directly on top of your code base. So you can see here, this is all currently living in code. I've got a style guide that I've created right here that I just did from Claude. I actually put that into my code base. We're sharing that repo with you as well. So you'll have a link to that repo. But this is what it looks like when I open it up in Builder. I've got all my typography elements here. I've got all my sizing here. You can see my color scheme is here and my spacing, all these things that exist in here. So I've got a visual way to see these design tokens that I've just created from Claude, which is really great. Share it with my team, share it across the org or whatever. And it all took me like, I mean, if you walked through and you waited for it, what you're talking 15, 20 minutes maybe. So it's super fast to create this. What normally would have taken us a while, if we ever even got around to it, has now been taken care of in like a fraction of the time. So
Yeah, Adam,
now,
I'll point out here, Adam, I think it's, kind of just from a general best practices. It's good to think of whatever LLM and AI you're using, whether it's Builder or it's Claude or, OpenAI, right? They are like just another member of your team in the sense that like you need to communicate with them in kind of the same way that you would, right? Like, here's our standards, here's the things I want you to follow. And you can do it in our language, right? In plain English or whatever language you're speaking. You don't need to be in that kind of code mindset at this point. And so I think it's just good to keep in mind, right? Like I'm always kind of having a hammer home in my head, like when I'm working with these LLMs, they're they're also like a member of the team, and I don't need to tailor my speech or the way I communicate into like some computer language, right?
yeah, that's a great thing to call out. One other thing, so now we have our design system set up. Want to show how to actually use that to start building out UI pieces, right? So we can start building out patterns. We can start building out, our hero sections. We can start building out, pricing sections. We can start building out forms, like all sorts of things. Now that we have this design system in place. So again, Builder now has the context of my code base, so it can see like what are the component structures, what does my code look like. Builder's also looking now at the tokens that it has from CSS. Even to give it a little bit more context, and down here in the instructions tab within Builder, we're going to add an instruction. This one's already in our project, but when applying styles, don't create arbitrary values. Only use the tokens that you have available. That way the LLM won't try to do anything extra. LLMs can sometimes be helpful, right? And so by being helpful, they think they're trying to do something, and they're not as helpful as they think they are sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transition to creating a new hero image. So if I go back into this pattern page right here, you'll see that I've already created a handful of hero section kind of patterns. These are actually hold on, the artboard. Yeah, these are all AI generated that were done beforehand. And so what I'm doing now is I want to create an additional one, and I'm going to actually use a sketch to do that. So if I attach an image here, if I go back to this sketch, this is, on the fly, maybe somebody had an idea of a really cool hero section, and they built this in Excel and they said, "Hey, Adam, I want you to make this real," right? And we never had any of those like last minute requests, right? So we're gonna open that up, and then I'm gonna put in a prompt here, generate one more hero image at the bottom of this page based off the rough sketch. So And now, again, I'm going to run this for the sake of time. I've just gone ahead and already run it beforehand. So I'm going to skip forward and show you what I get in this one. And you can see down here at the bottom, this is now, so before I have this, the last one is here. Now I've got a new one here that's right here that it's created for me. You can go back up here and you can see they've got the same prompt, had the same image. It's looking through my code base to see what styles are available. It looks for my tokens that are in here. And then it looks to match that and then match the structure of my page. So I get this brand new pattern here, which is really cool. Another thing you could also try is, again, we talk about the possibility of like being non-deterministic. Sometimes that's really good, actually, in a way, because it can actually create things that we haven't really thought of before. So another thing, and I'm not gonna run this here for the sake of time, but you could put in like another prompt, for instance, like generate 2 more variations of a hero section. And so it would look at this page and see, okay, there are already 5 hero sections. Adam wants 2 more, and then he wants to vary the placement of the headline, the placement of sub headline, different images, and all those things. So that's another way that you can kind of just rapidly iterate and be a little bit creative, or let the LLM be a little bit creative. Again, still keeping our design styles and stuff, but that would be really a good way to do that.
Yeah, and so I'll point out here, I think like this is a good kind of pause point where everything we've done up to this point, you could really classify as like building context, right?
Mhm.
We've created the design system or we've let it know where our existing one already is. We've then kind of gone through and talked about the visual layout and asked it to kind of build out like these are the things that I like. The third thing that Builder's doing here, which is a little unique, is this is actually sitting on top of your own code base and your own repository. So we're also feeding it in that context of this is how we write our code and this is how things are stored. And so I do just want to point that out. We're about 20 minutes in and we haven't actually asked it to build a conference website yet, right? And I think that's like actually important and it's by design because you do need to spend a little bit of time up front really teaching them like this is who I am, this is who our brand is. And I think like if you skip that step, it, you're gonna be refining a lot more later, right? And I think what's fun about it is you could just do that step with the AI here, like we're doing, right? It's not like you have to do this on your own and then upload it. You're being collaborative even on this part as well.
Yeah, and so to your point, Nick, I promise we are going to build a conference mini site. Let's go back. Oh, yeah, wrong way. Wrong way. There we go. Okay. So let's go back to that original one we did here, this pretty generic one. Let's take the same prompt that we did here and let's paste that into Builder. Now that we have all of the things that we need. Let's see. Let me make sure that may not be my whole prompt. So let me just go back here to my prompts over here that I've got and grab it again. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to grab this prompt again and I'm going to scroll back over to Builder. And let me artboard. Ah, my artboard. I moved my artboard.
Mhm.
So, anyways, I can do this. I don't need to see it right now. So I can go ahead and just put this in here. So we're generating a landing page for a conference. Again, we're going to run this for the sake of time. Once again, I'm not going to run this because it would take a little while to create it. It would create it in our code. I've already run this ahead of time. So I take this and this is the output that we're going to get in here. So you can see it looks a lot different. Like if we just scroll down, you can see it matches the brand. It matches my design system. There's obviously some work we can do on it. But if you take a look going back to this one, you can see there's a huge difference in the result that we got just from giving it this design system, giving it these tokens. What's more is you can actually even then, for instance, if you wanted to go to things like this in Builder, you can then go into the style and you can like look at your typography and you can say, oh, I want to use only my brand colors, right? And so this is limiting it so I can visually edit using just the style. So it doesn't just have to be AI, right? Like I can actually tweak things move, edit things. Same thing for like padding and margin. There's all sorts of other things that are in here again because of all that design, those design tokens that it gets. Um, Now, you might, looking at this page, I realize, okay, there's a couple things that are missing. One is an FAQ page or FAQ section, right? Like every good conference has an FAQ section because everybody's got questions. And another thing is pricing. Like people got to know how to buy tickets because like how in the world are they going to come to our conference if they can't buy tickets? So then I'm going to get my other prompt for generating a new FAQ section. So let me go down here and grab that. Let's see, I'm gonna add the very bottom of this page, add a new section with 5 FAQ section, or with the 5 FAQ questions. Okay, I'm gonna run that. It's gonna think about it for a second. I'm actually running this one live because this is a pretty fast result. And it's gonna look at the context of the whole page, just looking at all the content that's on the page, and it's going to actually build out relevant FAQ questions too. So it's not just putting out lorem ipsum or something like that.
Yeah. And I'd say here as well is kind of another general best practice tip of working with LLMs and AI is that, we're asking like a fairly asking it to do a fairly targeted thing, right? We did ask for it to create this whole page, but I think especially when you're editing and tweaking things, all LLMs, it's better to ask it to do maybe 3 or 4 sequential things than telling it all at once, right? Like make a FAQ and also a pricing page and also move this thing. Um, it'll do it and it'll try its hardest, but I find that, most LLMs, uh, they get a little confused when you start giving them a few different tasks, and it's better to kind of break it up so you can go back and forth that way.
Yeah, and so you can see it added it in kind of a weird spot, and that's where the visual editing actually for the builder is really great because I can then go in here and I can take a look at my layers and I can see, okay, so let's see, it added this H2 in this box inside another section, and I just want to move that out. So actually what I'm gonna do first is I'm just gonna copy this section and I'm gonna paste it down here, and then I actually want to move that back inside this one. Um, let's see. Yeah. And then actually, I'll leave that out. And then I will delete this. And then, oh, let me just delete all this. Delete all that too. So you can see now I've got this created. So I've got this new an FAQ section. I got all my FAQs. I can take a look and see that's interactive. So it's got different questions. So what's included in the conference ticket? How can I participate remotely? They're actually relevant questions to this, and I was able to edit the styling just based on kind of moving stuff around. Another thing I could do is, maybe that's again, I want to add a ticket pricing thing. So I will add this, let's see, go here and I'll add another prompt here. So the very bottom of this page, add pricing cards. And I want to actually attach an image for that because I want to have a little bit more context on that. So I took the image cards that were actually from the visual, the video conference site that we did in Claude. And so I'll paste those in here and then I would start that. Again, that takes a little bit longer. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip forward and you can see in my new conference site, this is one that I've worked with before. I've got your ticket right here. So it's got a ticket price here that looks exactly like my brand. And again, I didn't have to add all these other things, but I can edit them if I want to. I can click on any of these and just, change this to in-person participation. I can move it over if I want to. I can even change text super easy on June 12th. I don't know. But super easy to add, super easy to edit, and then I could just publish that directly from there. So you can see like it makes this really easy to create new sections, new pieces of content that look exactly like our brand, and you can build out stuff super fast. But you know, not everything's done in Builder, right? Like a lot of people are working with Figma, and so Builder isn't the only place that that we need to support this kind of development and this kind of design, these workflows. So I'm going to open up in Figma. We're going to say our design team gave us a new schedule page. It's like they're realizing, oh, we actually don't have a schedule page on this anywhere, and we need one. And so first things first, we actually use our design system inside Figma. There's a plugin called CSS variables, and we were able to import all of our design tokens inside that CSS variables plugin. So we used all those same things we expected to. Um, and then what we did was we like,
I'll just point out again, I'm trying to be the broken record on that, right? Like we're talking to a different system here. And this one isn't even AI, right? But we're still
yeah,
thinking, let's give it the context, right? Let's give it the context. Let's give it the context. And I think like it's, I just keep saying it, right? That's the number one thing. Like if you're asking a tool to do something, set the ground rules for what you want, and it's going to make things a lot smoother for you as you go.
absolutely. So we got this now here. What we want to do is we got to figure out we want to export this from Figma to actually be usable code, because that's ultimately what we're wanting, the end result to be. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the builder plugin within Figma, and we're going to export this design. So just takes a second.
And so while
Okay.
that's running in here, Adam, I think like it is a really good important pieces. You should always be thinking, what's the best tool for the task that I'm trying to do right at this moment. And the AI systems are really good at translating. Builders great at translating, especially from Figma, but um you don't necessarily need to feel the need to, I'm gonna pick this one LLM, like I'm a Claude shop and that's what I'm gonna do. If some are better for images, Figma is obviously incredible for design and things like this. And so maybe I want to work here for these pieces. And so I think there's a tendency of like, what's your favorite LLM? And we're gonna just keep using that. Um, that's not really necessary, right? Like use the tool that makes sense for the task that you're trying to do. And that interoperability is kind of one of the things that Builder especially is trying to build in so that, it enables people to kind of bring in stuff from wherever it happens to be most useful to create it.
Yeah, so for this one, we're going to copy this to Builder right now. So I'm going to copy it here. I'm going to go back to this visual editing tab here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it, instead of having these, I'm going to actually paste this in. And so you can see now it's pasting in as Figma content. So that's actually copying straight from Figma. It's been exported through Builder, and now we're copying it directly into Builder. And I'm going to say make this a new page, all named uh, named schedule. Okay. So again, I'm not for the sake of time going to run that. I mean, I can go ahead and run it and show you just kind of how it gets started. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and skip over to where we've already done this. And so if I skip over to my scheduling app here, or my schedule page here, you can see that we've imported this. This is now in Builder. This is I can edit this video conference 2025 conference schedule. I can actually click on these, and they're also interactive. So it brought over not only the components and stuff, but then I can also make them interactive. And then you can see there are things like I can now click here and it will filter. So I can see the friends that are online or not online. And so all this is actually in Builder currently. And yeah, so that's, I mean, so you're like able to really rapidly bring over things from Figma that have been developed, and again, all keeping that continuity. So they look exactly the same, bringing things from Builder all the way through in this design system. So you can see like this speeds up your workflow just dramatically, um, as opposed to where you're having to go through all these different steps, and you could something that might take days in the past is now taking 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, however long it is. And so much of it, again, though, to Nick's point, is built on building that context, building all those base systems. Really the first half of our demo, once you have those things in place, you can use those things anywhere across lots of different tools.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think also, Adam, just to add here is like there is a mindset that, we as users of these tools can change our mindset as well. And like one thing that Builder enables here is, really being in that mindset of we're partnering with the LLM or the AI or the tool that we're using, where we're not necessarily just saying like build me this thing and hoping that it works, right? We're having a conversation with it of, hey, this is what I'd like, get us started. And then you could see, as Adam's doing here, we're going to start tweaking from there, whether it's visually like we can do in Builder of like clicking on something and changing the borders or dragging the things around, or it's more through text or something like that with other LLMs of I don't quite like this, let's tweak that. And I think that's also kind of just the mindset shift of we're used to working with non-LLM tools where it's like I better get this right because it's going to take me an hour and a half to do it and I don't want to have to redo it. When in this AI context, it's more like it's going to take me 3 minutes to do it. And if I have to redo it, it's just another 3 minutes, right? And so that iteration mindset where you're partnering is again another really important thing for us to change how we behave now that we have these great tools that can be so responsive to it.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. Okay. And just to show you like that we're not just, like let's see, let me open up a new tab here. So we do have this live. The schedule app, I don't have that one live yet, but you can look through this and you can actually, see that the various things are here. This is running on an actual site, so it's not just, within Builder right now. We pushed it up. So yeah, that's again in our code on production.
I do see one question in the chat here, which I'll answer live. There was David was asking, all the data in this screen is static. How does it handle integrating with backend APIs? I think that's a really good question here as well. Most of what we've been showing here is front end development. I think another piece of context that we do want to give to these systems, right, is awareness of what our APIs are. And so it varies with different tools how you might give it that awareness. In Builder, what we were showing here, since it's sitting on your code base, it can discover those, but that's part of that, again, context prompting where it's really useful to just let it know, this is where my APIs are. Here's a sample API that you could connect to. And that really does help, especially in this prototyping, so you can see live data as well. It's a little bit different for every tool, exactly how you might connect those APIs, but thinking about that context also is really helpful to be doing in the prep for these things also.
Yeah, yeah, and within Builder, we have a couple of different ways to do that. I mean, I would say the same thing if you're using like Cursor or something like that. You can even prompt that with your API. You can prompt it with, how to hook up your environment variables, how to hook up your whatever routes you're using. It's pretty good if you just give it the same, again, going back to prompt, going back to, I know we also have inside of here in their instructions, oh, we've changed it since, but you can actually even put in the instructions, I have an API. What it is, and it will also try to connect that API. So yeah, it's not just front end, even though this demo's definitely been front end heavy on that, but you can connect these things. So just to kind of go back and show our flow again, we set up our context, we defined our design system, we created a public style guide to document all of our decisions and to make them, easy to change and easy to view across the org and our different teams. Because again, we want to document these things, we want to share these things out. They're just better that way. We also then iterated across different patterns. We showed how to generate pricing sections and FAQ sections and different things that were necessary for our conference mini site, in addition to generating the mini site landing page itself. And so we iterated, and then we actually built the content out. We actually published it to prod. We have a working site out there. Again, all these resources will be shared with you after the demo, so you can also go and you can test these things out for yourself. Again, doesn't have to just be in Builder; it could be in any tool. But that's how we got from start to finish.
Cool. Well, I'm just looking in the chat here. We've had some great questions coming in. I'll walk through a few, but definitely please do keep throwing your questions in the Q&A section where we're walking through this. One question they said is, I build in VS Code. Will this work there? And I think that's a good question again of just kind of integrating the ecosystem of all these different tools, right? And so, VS Code has its own plugins that can run in there. You can run some of these commands from Builder there, but I know a lot of folks will have something like Cursor or something like GitHub Copilot that you're using already. And so, again, What we were showing here in Builder is great for that visual, product managers, engineers, designers may go in there and use that visual editor. But you'll probably also have some developers that are saying, I'm set up in Cursor. I've got it really honed to exactly how I do things. I don't really want to switch tools, and I think that's great too. Those folks who are comfortable using, Cursor or VS Code or GitHub Copilot, that it's really optimized already for the work that they're doing, should continue to work there, right? Folks where, maybe they're more visually based or they're using other tools can work in those other pieces. And so what's key is that you're using the right tool for the right job, and any of the changes that are made are going to be kind of flowing between all the tools.
Yeah, again, to Nick's point, again, what we said over and over again, context is key here. So making sure that as you're doing things, yes, prompting has a place, but the world isn't just text anymore. So use your images, use screenshots, use sketches, anything you can use to kind of help out, even like PDFs of content. These kinds of things just make your results better. In addition to the design tokens and things like that, that kind of help keep it on brand. You always want to be getting better results, and that's just one of the ways to do it. What else do we have in the way of questions?
So I see another question here. How much context can you provide to the AI? So that is a good question. More context can, delay results. The more more context you're throwing at it, the longer it might take. And, for most systems, you are kind of in an AI credit scenario, so you don't want to just like throw a bunch of stuff out there, and use up your tokens. But you'll be surprised how large the context window can be for most AI systems, and especially when you're getting started, you're going to be giving it a lot more. And I think like one of the strategies that's really useful is giving larger prompts at the start, which you saw what we were doing, right? These great big long things like, I've got all this that I want to do, and you're kind of describing it all. But then what you noticed was after we described all of that context, the output from the AI was actually the context for the next step, and it was much cleaner and much shorter, right? And so you may have to start very broad. Here's all this context. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Now, please, AI, output me something really crisp that you can reference again later, right? And it's almost, I was going to say it's like a pyramid. It's a reverse pyramid. I don't know, but it's a funnel, I guess, right? So you start with all this context and you can kind of hone and hone and hone it down, to where, every single time you're telling it things, you're not necessarily providing all that context. You're just letting it know, where to look for the things that you've already done as well. I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chats just around kind of compatibility with different frameworks. I see Tailwind, I see apps, I see different things. And I think this is a really important piece as well. The LLMs themselves are almost always, pretty good at all of the different frameworks. And so that is again kind of one of those crucial contexts that you want to give it for Builder itself as it's looking at your code base. It's pretty good at like actually auto detecting, are we using Tailwind, are we using TypeScript, are we using React or Angular, right? But for most LLMs, they're going to support all of them, but you need to be a little bit specific about what you're using. And again, providing that context of these are the specific styles that I like to use as well. So you could say, like, do this in Tailwind, but what's better is do this in Tailwind. And here's 5 examples of how we use Tailwind today in order to, in order to make it follow your styles and keep consistent with what you're trying to do as well. Adam, I'm scanning through. If you see any, go shout them out as
Yeah.
well.
Oh yeah. Hold on. I need to find them here.
I'm seeing some questions around accessibility standards also. Great question. It's probably
Yep.
one of the questions that first comes up for me.
Oh,
I do these demos all the time, and that's almost always the first question, right? Is accessibility is top of mind. I will say, Claude and most of the LLM models are excellent at accessibility. And those are public standards, which, most of the LLMs are trained on. And so generically for accessibility, usually they're very good and you can again be explicit in your prompting. But I think it's another really good generic tip for when you're communicating with LLMs is that anything that's a public standard that's accessible on the public web, just go ahead and give it the address for it, right? Like, if there's, design systems like the MUI design system, right? That's one of the most popular ones that are out there. Just go ahead and tell it, hey, we use MUI. Here's the documentation for MUI. And it's really good at reading that documentation and following those standards as well. And so if you're agnostic, if you don't have something specific in your design system, really, really great. If you really don't, care which one you choose, choose a well-documented public design system, because it's going to be excellent at following those documentations and examples that other folks have made for you as well. And I just saw a
Yeah.
question around Storybook for 2025 in relation to LLMs. Storybook is a great source of that documentation, just as I was saying as well. So certainly, like if you're using Storybooks, feeding those results into your LLM, whichever one you happen to be using, is really excellent.
Yep.
Adam, if you're looking for the questions, there's like a Q&A tab at the bottom
Yeah.
of the chat.
I have to just stop sharing screen here for a second because I hit the controls and now it's like
Mhm,
not able to get back to where I need to.
mhm.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I see another question here. It says, the AI does seem to be generating a lot of images, and we're pretty sensitive at our company around copyrights. So this is a really important point as well. Copyright in images, especially in an enterprise level, is something to be really careful of. Um, I think like, especially when you're in development mode, it's great to just go ahead and use whatever images the AI happens to be generating. But you do need to be very cognizant of when you're publishing. There's, each LLM is a little bit different in their stance on what they were trained on from a copyright point of view. And you'll probably have some strict policies within your enterprise as well. But the way that we think about it is like during that prototyping stage, better to just kind of run with what's there using placeholders, but to definitely build into your process either, analyzing the terms and conditions of whichever LLMs you're using to see what their stance is. I think OpenAI never uses copyrighted images and hasn't trained on them, but I know there are others out there that have, and I know that there's lots of lawsuits and things out there which are good to research. But yeah, it is an important piece to be aware of, especially as you grow and in your code base, you do want to avoid that. So just making sure that you're cognizant of that as well.
Yeah, I saw a question in the general chat about is it a good idea to use Claude or OpenAI to generate a design system, then import it Figma, or just go from Figma design to Builder IO? And I would say, get that design system in place first. One of the things that you want within Builder is like if you're wanting to use those design tokens to kind of lock down, instead of just having people be able to add all sorts of colors or add all sorts of other things, having that design system first that you're importing as design tokens is the best approach. Then just, I mean, you can always import from Figma straight to Builder, but if you just want to be a little bit more prescriptive, it's good to have those design tokens.
Um, I see another question here, which is probably good to point out as well. We definitely use the cooking show method today of putting in the prompt and then switching to the completed thing. Just because, as we all know, like we didn't want you sitting there watching the AI churning away. But yeah, we did have a few steps in between. I think especially when we were building in the interactivity on that last application screen, the way that we did build that was when the Figma came in initially, it comes in, pixel perfect, but more of a static page. And again, through that incremental kind of prompting that we did with it, we did ask it to, add in the functionality of those toggles, add in this interactivity and things like that as well. And I think that is an important piece to point out. And it's kind of a fun piece, like our developers that we work with and our designers that we work with really enjoy that dynamic because they find, yeah, we can get the design in from Figma very quickly, and kind of the thing that nobody likes is red lines, right? And so we cut out that red line process of getting these things pixel perfect, and then we can spend our time chatting with the AI of building in the fun interactivity, connecting it to the backend and those types of things, which I think is where a little bit more of the creativity comes in as well.
Yeah, there's not currently, I see the last question. I can't see the chat for some reason, the Q&A, there's questions on that tab, but I can see that there's no MCP current interface for Builder. So I would love for there to be one, and we just don't have it yet.
I'll reiterate, yes, this is being recorded and we will send it out. I've seen more than a few questions around the recording. This is definitely recording, and we'll be emailing it out to everyone that was here. Um,
Yeah, just I did see that one more question that came at the end. How do you move everything in builder space gradually so every page is built with separate components with full functionality? That's one thing I didn't show in here. We showed the full app, but you also could do, like, for instance, just section by section. So you can also import this into Builder. So just in the same way, if you're going more granular, you don't have to import like whole pages. You can import, just individual sections and things like that into Builder.
cool. And I think, Adam, maybe, we're running up on time here a little bit, but if flip back to the kind of the 6 points, a couple slides previous.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
to reiterate these, I think these are kind of like the big takeaway points that we do want people to walk away with. The example we used here was using Claude, it was using Figma, it was using Builder, but really those were just the tools we were using to kind of express these points, right? I'm not even going to bother saying context again. But number two, around design tokens and then your design system, it is really important that if you don't already have that designed, you don't have to build a fully fleshed out system, but the more context, the more you can lay that groundwork, either very simply or in great detail, better results you're going to get going forward with any of these. Um, Number four was one that I learned just while we were making this with Adam and Todd here, is that using AI to actually experiment with patterns and layouts, that was one I hadn't really thought about, but I think it was really cool to see, right? And that was when Adam was showing, like, here's a sketch of this new hero component. Can you show me a few different layouts there? Like, layout is, again, like another component of design, and asking the AI to help with that as well is super, super helpful. Number five with multimodal.
Real quick, can I go back to number four on
Yeah,
that one?
yeah,
If
absolutely.
you're using patterns and such, especially in Builder, what's really great is once you have those built out, you can just copy and paste them into other types of Builder content. So you don't just have to, like, it's not just a one-time use kind of thing. So in Builder, you build them out and then you've got it there. You can edit it visually, do whatever you want to, and then just literally take the whole thing, copy it, and then move it to whatever other content you want to.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I think along those lines, number five has been the other one that even just recently, even outside of design, just learning that you can interact with AI not just through text anymore, right? Through pictures, through sketches. I haven't done it yet, but it's on my list to, I don't know if I want to, but enable my microphone and just start talking to it, right? I guess that's the next frontier I'm gonna need to get used to, but um, really keep that in mind as you're doing. I've found that what I've been doing a lot is typing lots and lots and lots of words and then just switching over, like, what am I doing? Let me just like sketch out a picture really quickly. Super great way to communicate. And I would say also for debugging, I've been doing that as well, just generally with LLMs. I am not like a Figma expert. And one thing I've been doing to learn Figma better is I ask ChatGPT, how do I do this thing in Figma? it tells me, and then half the time, uh, the option that I'm asking it for isn't even in the UI that it's telling me to do, and I just send it a screenshot of my Figma UI. I'm like, this is the menu I'm seeing. Tell me which button to click, and it actually works really well. Like, oh, I see you're on this version, and it'll let you know there. And so I think just in life with these LLMs, uh, it's gotten really great at pictures now, and so use those to communicate as well.
Yeah, I actually want to go start drawing out stuff on paper and see, and then just scan it and see how it does.
I know that's what we should have done for this demo. We should have
I should
gotten
have.
a napkin and crumpled it up and sketched something and put a coffee stain on it and then
Yeah, yeah. Let my kids put their like greasy fingers all over it or something. Yeah,
Well, great.
and
Well, I think
then
we're running up on time here. And again, just to like reiterate, we'll be sending out this recording. It's all there. You can definitely go on to Builder.io. You could sign up for a free account and start trying some of these things out. Reach out to us if you'd like a demo as well. But hopefully this was, an informative session and looking forward to working with everybody.